always turn up, and you make the game what it is. So we think you deserve a better betting experience. Every time you bet with Fanatic Sportsbook, win or lose, you get up to 5% of your wager back in fan cash. Spend it on jerseys, fan gear, bonus bets, and more. And for a limited time, bet and get up to $1,000 in bonus bets over 10 days. Welcome to the most rewarding sportsbook.
And good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome to Hawthorne Racecourse for a Saturday afternoon of thoroughbred action. Jim Miller and Emily Gullikson up here in our studio on the mezzanine level on a chilly Saturday afternoon, but it is dry outside, so that's a good thing. Overcast skies are putting a whole lot of water on the racetrack because it was a little bit breezy today, but that should keep the dust down, the kickback down a little bit. We'll see how races play, but Emily, one day before the running and the return of the Illinois Derby.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting race, just the excitement all around. Got a lot going on outside, all the street art's getting put up, gets a little bit lively, people that are coming out for the tournament. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to it for a while, but like this week, I'm like, this is like my first Derby. I'm very excited.
It's been 7 years since we've run the race, so
wow.
It has been some time since the Illinois Derby was last run. Multiplier, the last winner of the Illinois Derby. We'll see how things unfold tomorrow. It's a field of 6 assembled for the race, and it's kind of weird because it's a little tough because for many years it was a prep for the Kentucky Derby, and the way it was placed out, you had horses looking to try to get into that race. Now it's it's become an official prep for the Preakness, but you're trying to kind of get back on the map a little bit.
Sure,
The Pat Day Mile comes up on Kentucky Derby Day. You just had the Lexington last week at Keeneland. So the good thing about it, it's a good competitive race.
It absolutely is.
It's very evenly matched. I'll be curious to see what the pace scenario is because like the Ravelli horse that jumped in stretching out has all the potential in the world to show speed and try to go out there and steal on a quick return. But you could probably make a case for every single horse in that race.
I think you can.
Yeah.
I think you can. We'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow, but the way I'm kind of looking at it, if it stays the way that it is right now, is singling on one horse because you can start getting deep because all of a sudden it's like, well, this one, and for me it's like I'm gonna sink down on one and let it ride, and hopefully they're not favored.
And I'll wait till tomorrow to find out who it is because I'm kind of the same way. There's one horse I'm going to go to because I felt the same way.
Should we just show our cards?
It's one or it's all.
Well, I'm definitely one. Hint, hint.
Yeah, it's not that one for me.
Okay.
And I was looking at it. It was interesting because I was talking to Howard Kravitz and their crew on the podcast on Thursday night, and they were talking about that horse. And it's one of the things where what do you make of the last 2 races? We're talking about Redman Violin, but what do you make of the last 2 races compared to what do you make out of the Kentucky Jockey Club as a 2-year-old? Is this a confidence builder? I mean, I think the pace sets up nicely for the horse, so we'll see how things unfold. It's just which racehorse you're going to get.
To me, that's just one of those things from like the gambling standpoint that you have those question marks, but that's where you're going to get price compensation. Right. Because if he was coming in off the juvenile form, you're looking at the heavy. You're looking at the horse. Exactly. So you're taking that little bit of a risk and saying he didn't handle those fairgrounds races. You can make an excuse that he needed the race coming off the layoff. They were pointed to the Louisiana Derby, and then just wasn't the right trip. And maybe the horse didn't handle it. He's run well on some other tracks, so I think that could be part of the reason. And just seems like you have a horse that's has graded stakes form. Go to the Preakness, and he's got Ken McPeak has some other horses that are going to run at Churchill.
Yeah.
And it seems like this one's here for that, so that's the way I'm going.
He spots his horses nicely. He's won the Preakness in the past. He's won the Belmont in the past. This is a guy that knows what to do with his racehorses. You don't have $120 million in career earnings without doing something right for your racehorses. So he's definitely done a very nice job. It'll be interesting. Woodcourt, the horse I laid as the 5-2 favorite from the barn to Cipriano Contreras. Just kind of a nice progression of races, and the last couple have been pretty good, and we'll see how things unfold for that one. But overall, it's a solid race. It's an intriguing race. It's the last race of our contest tomorrow, and I'm really curious to see how people play the contest because it's win, play, show, exacta, and double wagers. I think there's going to be a lot of people playing doubles. One, to have that multi-race wager tied up a little bit, but 2, not to maybe completely show their hand going into the final mandatory race either.
You know, it's funny because we did the spaces. You can check it out if you follow Hawthorne on X now. And there was a lot of conversation about the utilization of how to play doubles. And for the scenario that you brought up, which the point is made, and it's a very valid one, that you might not want to say where you're at in that position, but at the same time, if all your money's tied up going into that late double, you might be looking at the wheel pace saying, I'm drawing dead.
Right.
Even if I hit this, I'm drawing dead. And you know how these tournaments are, everything's so top heavy.
Yep.
And so you never want to put yourself in that position. So yeah, I think, you know, the way that it kind of stacks up with the races, I think strategy is going to be key, and making plays in the right spot and really maximizing your opinion. I think it'd be tough to kind of like to grind, like small little grinds. You know, you're going to have to take some. It's very interesting. I'm looking forward to it, and there'll be a lot of players here, and definitely can pick their brain and learn a little bit more as we go.
And the thing that's really kind of intriguing about this contest, you have a group of players that's going to be playing here, another group of players that can play on expressbet.com. So everyone around the country has the ability to play in this contest. There's $10,000 in cash. There's NHC, Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. He's on the line. There's a lot out there.
The $1 million bonus that comes with the
$1 million bonus, right. If you win and you win the NHC, that's out there. First Bet is doing their Illinois Derby Exactapalooza.
Right.
If you play there, so you have a chance to win money if you're hitting exactas throughout the course of the day. And there's some favorites on tomorrow's card that could win, but they're vulnerable too, and they could be vulnerable heavy favorites on tomorrow's card. So there is some price potential too. So it's interesting. You go, I think you go 8-9-9 for fields leading up to the Illinois Derby with some good allowance races too. So should be a nice day, and it looks like it's going to be a dry day tomorrow as well.
Yeah, the weather should be good. We talked about it a little bit today that it is a little bit cold, but this is like for a racehorse. We're like, this is the best day.
Yeah.
This is my jam. You know, I go out and walk Frost. He's got like another pep in his step. Like they animals love it. Absolutely. Yeah.
They definitely do love it, and it's something the horses are going to love as well. If you're coming out here to Hawthorne tomorrow, we're going to have a food truck that's out there on the apron level as well. You posted about the mural that's getting painted out there on the apron, the little bit better sight lines for everybody looking down the stretch now too. So it's a nice setup. Looking forward to how things are going to unfold tomorrow. But that's tomorrow. Here's today's card. Only 2 scratches on today's card, which is a good thing. You have a 8-race card today, fast track. Kick things off with the start of the 50-cent pick 5 and the place pick 8. No more carryover on the place pick 8. So it's a payout on either 8 of 8 or the most of 8 each and every racing day. So make sure you check that out too. 12-5 claimers in the first, 5.5 furlongs. Field of 7 aligns up in the opener. Your 2-to-1 favorite right now is the 6th Country Guy from the barn of Eduardo Rodriguez, who had himself an amazing day last Sunday. I put that horse in the mix. I actually went to Coal Miners Kitten on top, but I know you gave a look in your notes to On KP, a horse from the barn of trainer John Rednauer.
Yes, I'm on KP, or I'm on KP in this race. Giving up recency coming off the layoff, the back numbers fit. Just looks like in the right spot. The win was in for the $25,000 non-winners of 2, so it seems like they're at that right level at the claiming condition where they can compete. A lot of things in their favor. If they run back to their top, this is the fastest horse in the race. Doesn't even have to quite run back to the top and still getting in the mix, but I thought it was the race that would be the 3rd choice, and if they close the pools right now, that's exactly where it is, and that's what I thought, and that was going to be the value.
Yeah, and I think you do see a little bit of value there. It's an intriguing race because I'm not sure what you're going to have pace scenario-wise. I mean, you look at the plot. I mean, everybody's kind of bunched there in the middle a little bit because it's like Desert Highway and Slava Ukraini are more speed around 2 turns, not necessarily sprint speed. On KP can rate close but doesn't need the lead. Over Calendared, kind of similar on the outside. And Coal Miners Kitten in that last out showed some speed, but it was 23, 45, and 4, so they didn't have to go that fast going 5/8 of a mile. So they could really kind of be just bunched up in this race.
And that was part of the other reason that I went to On KP, because I was like, I got Jared Loveberry. I'll let him dictate whatever's going to go on in this pace scenario. He's got a horse, like you said, he's got tactical speed, he can sit and rate. And Jareth we trust at this point.
He gave a really good ride to a horse for Vance Childers last week in an allowance race, and the horse almost won the race, and it was perfectly positioned. The horse ran well. He rode the horse well, and he's an experienced journeyman rider who's had a whole lot of success for a reason, but on KP and with a big shot there in the opener. Race 2 today, $15,000 maiden claimers in the second starts, 50-cent early pick 4 wagering. It's a field of 7 to line up in this spot. Emily, I know in this spot you can go a lot of different ways, unlike the opener. Tribest is a horse that ran a good second in the slot in that last out. Graceful Scarlet is who I landed on, a horse that comes from California, who we've seen this move for this owner for Steve Manley in the past, and Jareth Loveberry picks up that one. Boyce's Bandita in here. A lot of different ways to look. How do you see things unfolding for race number 2?
I thought this race was so tricky because there isn't a single horse in here that you would say, oh wow, that horse won, like that's crazy. Every single one, and even looking ahead of the doubles, I was trying to get some clues, right? And you look ahead of the doubles, and there's 7 horses in the race, and probably 5 of them could be favored based on those early doubles. And then the other 2 aren't far off, so it's like I mean, no one really knows what to do in this race, and I'm skinny in race 1, I'll be skinny in race 3. In this race, I'd spread City because it is so completely tough. You have Tribus, who's run some of the faster races, but longtime maiden, Made the case for Graceful Scarlet. Boyce's Bandita has the race over the track. Peggy's Way cuts back to 1 turn, which is a major positive for that individual. And then if they all kind of bunch up, here comes Image of Curlin, Heather Irian with another deep closing runner to roll them by. So, I mean, gosh.
And Alexis Centeno picks up the call on that one, too. Rainer Arrieta down riding at FanDuel Racing down in Southern Illinois this evening. So Alexis aboard this one. Peggy's Way raced at Keeneland in that last out. That was last fall against $30,000 maidens. Yeah, you see it pulled up, walked off, but now you see the addition of Lasix as well, too. So you tend to wonder if just everything's going to kind of turn around and the horse is well positioned in there. Graceful Scarlet, for me, I thought the races were decent, and those were against state-bred, California-bred maidens in Southern California, and you know what that circuit provides. But then you come over here and you're running for 15,000. Are they trying to sneak one through and then you pop back up? I don't know. I mean, I'll be curious to see how things unfold, but Steve Manley places horses well, and he runs both in this spot, too.
Yes, and the few of the horses, he's gotten quite a few that are cutting up from California, and they're appreciating running on this circuit. It could be, like in the case of Graceful Scarlet, those are slightly higher race cars. She's run some fast races, so well spotted. Yeah,
I agree with you as well there in race number 2. Race 3 today starts the pick 6 wager is in the 3rd. We go 1 mile and 70 yards, 62.50 maidens in here. Scratch the 4, Lightning Melody Emily leaves you with a field of 6 to line up. And in the spot, Elias Lopez originally had 2, but he remains with Jocelyn in here from the inside. You thought this one might be able to turn things around a little bit today.
Yeah, I thought that the horse needed a prep opening week and showed more run. It was a move, big gallop out after the wire. Suggests you should appreciate the race over the track in today's distance with the added ground. They're going to add the blinkers, possibly works in the blinkers after the race. I don't know, I didn't see it, but at least has a work on paper, so maybe they found it there. That recorded move on April 10th. And could show a little bit more speed with the rail draw and has a weight break at the route distance. And since I was going to use both of them, and since one scratched, narrows it down for me.
Some people say, why run 2 when 1 will do?
I'm
we'll see how things unfold.
Hoping that's the key.
Yeah, and we'll find out for Jocelyn. And I mean, you look through the numbers, and that last race on paper didn't look well, but you look up and down this field, the horse definitely fits in here. And after Midnight's the one I went to, the big question for me is how the horse is going to handle 2 turns. I think with the stretch and distance, they kind of go out there and cruise along in the front end. Question's going to come down to stamina in the end. But if this one can shake loose and back it down, and I don't think they go that fast up front, maybe you hang around late. Jocelyn, with the addition of blinkers, goes out there and goes and challenges, changes the complexion of the race. So see what happens.
Another one that's a rider's race.
Yeah, right. It definitely becomes a rider's race. And we'll see how the track plays throughout the course of the day as well. 4th race on the card, Illinois-bred maiden allowance runners in this spot. A field of 8 to line up in race number 4. Trainer Michelle Boyce has had herself a very good meet thus far. She has the 4-horse Devil in here, a horse that raced at this level in that last out. Ran a pretty good race right back. Definitely the one to beat today.
I think so too. Has early speed, can finish, has the fitness, doesn't have to face off against some of her tougher stable mates again today, holding her own. Very logical in this spot for sure.
Definitely very logical in here. I'm with you. I think Devil's going to be very tough. I kind of like the fact that Ravelli gives another shot to the 6 Cheryl's Appeal at this level, only for the fact that sometimes you see a move like this and the horse doesn't show a whole lot, and the next thing you know, it's in for a state bred 15 or even lower. You're back for the maiden allowance. So that's the one thing that I like. They're saying, okay, hey, we're going to try another shot at this level too. So that's the one thing I want to see in the paddock, maybe give another look.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's an extremely good point. And in the race, she did break slow and then just wasn't asked for run, so obviously can improve off that race. I guess my thing was, I was like, okay, Devil's going to be short.
Yep.
Ravelli's going to be the second choice by default. So the one I'm going to throw in at a price is Joyzella. I thought she made a positive pre-race appearance last out, gets a state bred level. Hoping she can pop one price.
Always tries.
Yeah, she's so
eventually the horse is going to run by in the end.
Absolutely.
But always tries each and every time out. And you're right. This horse, it's a whole lot of exacta and trifecta type of run-ins getting to the mixed slate. So we'll see what Joyzella shows us there in the 4th. 5th race today starts the 50-cent late pick 4, 3/4 of a mile allowance runners in this spot, Emily. It's a field of 7 to line up in here. And again, I thought this was a pretty competitive race. You have no tapping out from the barn of Bill Morey coming into this spot. Broken Hearts Bay from the Arnett barn, who I thought ran a pretty good race in that last out, and the added ace should help. First Love in the mix. How did you kind of make things, see things unfolding, going a little bit further today for these horses too?
Yeah, it's another one. As you mentioned, there's a lot of contenders in there. Tough to dismiss anything from a lot of these live barns. Terry Young's got another runner, and that barn's been on fire.
Yep.
Yeah. Do they have an easy mode for this game?
No. Not today.
Not today.
Nope.
This race is so tough.
Yeah.
It's another one. I think that it can come down to price and getting an appearance in there. I give Broken Hearts Bay another look back. I thought that race was fine last out. I thought it was a good fit. Like they're coming back on the quick 3-week turnaround, can improve. I put that one on top, but yeah. could be any number. And they're hoping kind of a fair price with some of those other faces.
And I think you're going to get a fair price in there because you have a horse like No Tapping Out that's coming into this spot. First Love, I thought, ran a pretty good race in that last out and winning in New Orleans. I'm going to be curious to see what they do pace scenario-wise because First Love and Highwood both look like they can show speed, and Tanner Tracy surely isn't going to want his two runners duking it out on the front end. So it's a question of who goes, who rates, and how things unfold. You mentioned Terry Young. Every starter he sent out this meet has been victorious, and Fast and Happy was one of those that won in that first out. That was a really tough maiden race in that spot back on the 31st, too. And Fast and Happy coming back in here today. And that horse took money against some pretty good horses in that spot as well. So we'll see what Fast and Happy shows us as well. But that's a good solid field there for the 5th. Sixth race today, $5,000 claimers. They go 5.5 furlongs in the spot. We take out the 7 West Island, so throw all the odds out the window because I laid that horse as a 7-5 favorite.
And some of the pace, too.
A lot of the pace goes. So it really kind of changes how things are going to unfold in here. You get a horse like U.S. Honor Nap who shortens back up. And you've seen a lot of these moves out of the Zawitz barn, Modazzle from the Jim Watkins barn. This is a race, again, I think it's much tougher now because you take the heavy favorite out of the race.
Yeah, and the two that you mentioned, those are the two that I kind of keyed on, U.S. Honor Nap and Modazzle. But with the scratch, I think I'm Your Captain is upgraded with their ability to show early speed because West Island was going to be the speed of the speed, but there was a few that were going to bunch up there. So could have a slight pace advantage in there. Modazzle obviously has some speed as well, but changes the complexion.
It does change the complexion a little bit, and it's been a weird meet for the Zawitz barn because they had a really good year last year, and they've had a decent meet this year, but it's been a lot of third-itis the first time around.
Yeah.
And then you tend to wonder if they're going to step up and run even better in these next starts out. And some of these horses were able to continue running through the winter. These were a couple horses given a little bit of time. I do think they probably are going to improve in this next start out. So we will see how things unfold for both of them. Modazzle, you mentioned, Jim Watkins splits a stable between Hare and FanDuel, and he's always had good meets here. But this horse that I thought ran pretty well in that last out, Robust took him around on the front end, and West Island chased him there. So see what Modazzle shows us, see what the price is. I'll be curious to see who the bettors make favored there in race number 6. Race 7, $5,000 claimers, non-2. They go a mile into 70 yards. It's a field of 8 to line up in the spot. Eyes on deck in here from the barn of Eduardo Rodriguez. Horse I laid as the 8-5 favorite. Yoel Navas been riding well. He's been learning about this racetrack and kind of spotting his horses and that. Get the hot barn of Eduardo Rodriguez. I think you start with that one and kind of work from there.
Exactly. I think probably the most likely winner of this race, but it's not like they have that much of an edge.
Right.
Again, you have another competitive group in there. I think that is the horse to beat. Palaco is one I wanted to get creative with, making the second start of the meet under similar conditions. Prior to the race, just wasted a lot of energy, so one that to keep an eye on and could probably improve. Minnesota Moon could be in there to add a little bit of speed, help out the stablemate Perfumer from off the pace, some rider changes. Hawaiian Hideaway for the live barn coming back. Was able to show speed. This is a tougher spot, obviously, stepping up in class, but yeah, another competitive race. It should be no excuses for Eyes on Deck today. If they're ever going to clear this non-2, this is the spot.
Right, and that's the thing. If they're ever going to do a 1 for 25 lifetime, another 11 times second or third for Eyes on Deck. You mentioned Hawaiian Hideaway. This is one of those horses where, again, Terry Young, they haven't lost yet. They're implementing the ability to run for a 50% higher claiming tag, too. And they did it in that last out, got through with that victory there. They do it again here. So they run for 7,500 where others run for 5,000. Inside draw should be forwardly placed again. It's a little bit tougher on the step up, but that is the route that I went there in race number 7. In the finale, $4,000 claimers here. They go 3/4 of a mile in the spot. It's nice to see everybody getting out to that 3/4 distance.
Yes.
I think it kind of creates a little bit more strategy when you look at these races. But in this spot, you have the field of 8 in here. Joel Burton has the 3 Essential Bella in here. You get Summer at the spot from the Rivas barn, Play 20 from the Watkins barn, then Aunt Stella coming in off a victory as well. I think you kind of work around those 4, but I could see any of those 4, maybe even Stack Shack running a good race too.
Yeah, I think that I wasn't too creative. I went with those. Essential Bella is the one I'm going to key off of. I just think if they're ready, this is the time. Could be live, first start on the circuit, finding class relief in a softer par than she's had in a very, very, very long time. Coming back, had a very long season, needed a break, so can appreciate that. And if they're live in this spot, could be the horse to beat.
Trainer Joel Byrne off to a good start on the meet as well. Carlos Ulloa picks up the call aboard this one, and I'll be curious to see what Essential Bella shows us. It was a good workout, half-mile drill in 49 coming into the spot on April the 14th, and just might get a good setup here. Play 20 is the one I landed on in this race. Julio Felix riding well to open up this meet. This is a horse that likes this Hawthorne strip. should show speed, and that last out in the slop had a big lead in the lane though, and got run down in there. So I'll see what play 20 gets us here, going a 16th of a mile further. We'll have a great idea on how the track's playing,
Yes,
of course,
absolutely.
by that time as well. So we'll see how things unfold in the finale. That's how Emily and I see the 8 races here on this Saturday afternoon. We're going to flip back to the opener, take a look at the entire field for the first, as in race number 1, we offer a win, play, show. Again, 12% takeout on win, play, show wagers here at Hawthorne. Exact, try, super, double, pick 3, pick 5, and the place pick 8 wager. No carryover anymore for the place pick 8. So if you hit it, you're going to take money, and if you have 7 of 8, hold on to that ticket. And
Or
see
6
if,
or 5, who knows? Yeah.
Right. See how things unfold. You might be able to cash a ticket there as well. These are 12 5-claimers, non-winners of 3 races lifetime. You do get a field of 7 to line up. Looks like favoritism jumped around a few horses. Let's start with the 3 horse there. That's Coal Miner's Kitten. You see that one right there on your screen. 5-2 on the board right now. Your current favorite, this one from the barn of John Arnett. Arnett off to a very good start on the meet. Alexis Centeno rides. Second start of the meet for Coal Miner's Kitten, and the horse well placed once again in the spot.
Yeah, ran a really good race.
Yep.
Stayed on as the best of speed. The top 2 were well clear of the others, so really tough to knock off that effort. As far as the pace, we kind of talked about it a little bit. It could be contentious early. It's really hard to say. It just comes down to a rider's race. But coming off of that effort, very logical right back in this spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Schmoozen, the winner of that race, came right back and ran a very good race in that one's next start out too. And Coal Miner's Kitten definitely held his own in that last start. That was the first race off that layoff. It was 7 months or so in between starts, so you're making the second start back. I think the horse should be a solid threat in here. Probably gets that stalking trip, and at 5-2, I would take that price off that 8-5 morning line. After that, let's look to the 2. That's On KP. On KP at 7-2 on the board. This one from the barn of John Rednauer. We talked about this horse in the pre-race show as On KP. I'm guessing that's On KP right there walking in the paddock, where we'll see if that's the horse or not, or if there's another coming in. But On KP at that 7-2 price, like you said, enough tactical speed to at least get into the mix.
Yeah, I thought that the horse would be about the 3rd choice in the race, and it's been kind of there the entire time since the pool's open. And On KP is going to come back off the layoff, but it's coming back in a spot that's very reasonable. Closed out the season in a lot of those higher level allowance races. Ran in a claiming event at Churchill Downs. Those are really tough. I mean, that's $56,000 purse to run in a claiming race at Churchill Downs. The race that they have won at over this course was a claiming race for 25,000 non-2.
Yep.
So that's, there we go.
Yep.
What's the saying? Last to the paddock, first to the wire.
Yep.
So
last
far
to the paddock, first to the wire. He's
so
a good-looking racehorse too.
So far as 1 for 1 this meet, so we'll see. Yeah, and I just thought this placement was very logical. I like that Jareth is aboard. Obviously, you get a really strong rider, but in a race shape where it could just come down to a rider's race. You're in good hands, and I gave this horse a look. On his best day, he's by far the fastest horse in this race.
Yeah, and he's been okay at this distance. He's been okay over this racetrack as well. It's just a horse that, again, 2 for 27 is the thing that can scare you a little bit. But again, when you dig back through the past performances, it's been against a lot of tougher horses than what you see today. So I could see this horse in the mix as well. 6 horse in here is Country Guy. Country Guy at 3-1. This one from the barn of Eduardo Rodriguez. Joel Navas gets the call today. Navas was aboard this horse for back-to-back victories in New Orleans to close out their meet. Has since come over here with a work over the racetrack. Eduardo had a very good day last Sunday. And this one taking some action down to 3-1 off the 6-1 morning line.
Yeah, he's taking on older in here, a lightly raced type, but you're looking at a horse that's had 6 starts and is 50% winner. He's won 3 of those races. He is moving to take on open company, but as far as the race par, it's slightly higher, but I mean, it's like a centimeter higher.
Right.
You know, it's like almost closer to a lateral move. So he's going to have to hold his form on this circuit, but has the benefit of those live connections and a rider that knows this horse. Does come from a little bit out of it, so that could be a challenge as far as the pace scenario, but no surprise on this one.
Yeah, the big question is just going to be kind of how the track plays, what the pace scenario is in the spot as well, but that one sits at 3-1. Trainer Francisco Ramos has 2 in here. The one is the 1 horse. That's Desert Highway. Desert Highway at 8-1. Luis Colon aboard this runner today. This is a horse that went 2 turns in the second start out of the beat, and that was a quick return off that first out, and one going away at even money. You see that this is a horse that drifted a little bit in the lane, but was well clear late.
Yeah, he ran a huge race and made a lot of sense that day. He was second off. He was right back in a week, stretching out in distance, made a ton of sense. He had to rush up, took pace pressure, was drifting out a little bit late. So that could just be something to note on the fact that they are going to once again come back in 20 days. So relative short rest, but has plenty of fitness, is taking a rise in class. So really there's nothing to lose running in this spot, right? You're like, if you know, you take a shot. If you win, great. If somebody claims you, then you win on that end as well. So a good spot. I really like the horse last out today. Prefer others.
Yeah, I'd almost rather see this horse going longer once again. But Ramos on the meet, the one win was this horse, but another 5 out of his first 11 starters have found the board. So everything running pretty well for him. After that, let's go to the 7 horse right there. That's over calendared. Rashawn Blanche aboard this runner today for trainer Ida Spagnola. Horse still looking for the first win here at Hawthorne on his career. But you saw once they dropped down to that $5,000 level in those last few starts, ran improved races. I'm just curious to see what happens kind of on that step up once again today in class. I find this to be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, it could be. It's probably the same thing where it's a little bit more of a lateral class move, but when you say it's a little bit more of a class move, he still wasn't winning.
Right.
So he was kind of in those minor spots, what it's going to take in order to get the win. As far as his races on this circuit, he might just need one. He's had some trouble, so it's not like the horse doesn't like the racetrack. It's just a matter of placement and getting the right trip. Right. Not sure if this is it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And then let's touch lastly on the 4 horse. That's Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini right now at 5-1 on the board. Abel Lascano aboard this runner today for trainer Joel Zawitz. We talked about how a lot of horses from this barn have just been running underneath, and eventually those races underneath turn into victories. Again, you see kind of the better races around 2 turns, but the horse has taken some action, currently sitting at 5-1 on the board.
I like this horse last out as far as like getting that race, stretching out, thought it was a good prep, showed some run in there, threw a wide trip, is at the right level. Is the 5.5 enough ground? That is the main concern. I think the horse is super live. Most of his races have been longer way back in his career. He was sprinting obviously as a juvenile, starting off as a 3-year-old, but improved with racing, improved with added ground. As far as an individual fits, checks all the boxes. It's just the one question with the distance.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see. They put the blinkers on in that last out. You see the blinkers remain today. Again, around 2 turns, he kind of, if his best races are cruising along there on the front end, but I don't
rider
know.
Change.
Yeah, right. Abel Lascano picking up the call today from Frank Reyes. It's the second start off a little bit of a layoff as well, and again, you're getting some backing, currently sitting at 5-1. So that's how we see the field here for the opener. Again, in the first win, play, show, exact to try, super, double, pick 3, pick 5, place, pick 8 wagering. Good luck to you with your selections. Riders about to get a leg up here for race number 1.
Coming on the track for today's opener, they'll go 5 1/2 furlongs on a fast track, field of 7, no changes, win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta. This race starts the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, the 50-cent pick 5, and the $1 place pick 8. A reminder, place pick 8 now, no carryovers from now on. Have the most winners, you get paid. Post time in 4 minutes. They are parading. Here they are, 1 Desert Highway with Luis Colon aboard. 2 is on KP, Jarrett Loveberry in the saddle. 3 Coal Miners Kitten, Alexi Centeno. 4 is Slava Ukraini, Eduardo Gallardo. 5, Jim's River Runner, Israel Hernandez riding. Number 6 is Country Guy, Yoel Navas. And 7 is Over Calendared, Rashawn Blanche will bring him to the gate. They'll all be there in about 3 minutes. Kick off the Saturday program at Hawthorne. Track is fast. If you missed it earlier, we have a headwind in the home stretch of about 20 miles per hour. Racing fans, we thank you for joining us wherever it may be across the betting network. Those of you off track, we have a strong headwind in the home stretch of now excess of 20-25 miles per hour. Very consistent right now in headwind. We have 8 races on the program. Don't forget, tomorrow we present the Illinois Derby, sponsored by First Bet. We have 8 races today. Track is fast. First race starts, the rolling doubles, rolling pick 3s, the 50-cent pick 5, the place pick 8. If you missed it earlier, no more carryovers on the place pick 8. Track is fast. They're moving towards the gate for race 1 here at Hawthorne. Now they're at the starting gate for race 1 here at Hawthorne. Horses are entering the starting gate. Last 2 to go in will be Slava Ukraini and Over Calendared. Waiting now for Over Calendared. Field of 7 in the Saturday opener at Hawthorne. They're all in the gate. They're off. Towards the inside, Desert Highway out for the lead. In between horses, Country Guy from the far outside Over Calendar. Now splitting horses, Slava Ukraini 4 across the track, fighting for command. On KP is 5th, and then to the outside. In 6th is Coal Miners Kitten. That one's about 9 lengths behind the leader as they run into the far turn, and trailing Jim's River Runner. As they move around the far turn, Country on the inside, Slava Ukraini has the lead by 2. In second position, Over Calendared. And then moving up on the outside, here comes On KP, moving sharply well, 3 wide. Inside, Country Guy needs racing room on the far outside. Here comes Coal Miners Kitten. They fan across the track with 3/16 to go. Slava Ukraini still has the lead. Coal Miners Kitten on the outside is closing ground with a rush. And here comes Coal Miners Kitten up to take the lead and draw away. Country Boy, make that Country Guy, fighting back along the rail inside. Then it's Slava Ukraini. But at the wire, the first favorite obliges. Coal Miners Kitten won by 4. Country Guy did come on for second. And then it was Slava Ukraini and Desert Highway. In today's first race, 3, Coal Miners Kitten finished first, 6, Country Guy was second. Number 4, Slava Ukraini third, 1, Desert Highway fourth. 3-6-4-1 is posted, 3-6-4-1 is posted. It's unofficial, 104.56 the running time. Returning the unofficial winner 3, Coal Miners Kitten. Coal Miners Kitten is owned by Harry Verrucci, trained by John Arnett, ridden to victory by Alexis Centeno. Today's first race is official, running time 104.56. It's official.